Okay, so what happened to 49-year-old Suzanne Morphew? Within 2 days of her disappearance, her husband, Barry Morphew, offered up a whopping $100,000 reward for her safe return, but a Colorado News Channel reporter asked Mr. Morphew if he was interested in making a public plea for Suzanne. Mr. Morphew said, "At this point, it's simply too soon." Yet, by day 4 of her disappearance, a secret friend offered up another $100,000, bringing the reward total to $200,000. So after about a week, Barry decides it's time to make a public plea to find Suzanne. Did he call the news channel back? Nope. He posted a 26-second video on Facebook. "Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you. We miss you. The girls need you. No questions asked. However much they want, I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. I want you back." During the 20-second plea for Suzanne, he could have held up a picture of her. He could have described her bike helmet, the route she usually took while riding, what time she might have left, and could have even asked motorists to report any sightings of any suspicious activity to the police. Things that were common sense, that anyone, unless, of course, when this case broke, it started with a fictitious rumor, one that made headlines on every mainstream news outlet across the country. And to this day, 6 months later, we still see and hear news outlets reporting that Suzanne Morphew went for a bike ride and never came back.
It's been 4 months since a Colorado mom went missing during a bike ride on Mother's Day.
Search and rescue crews have been combing an area west of Maysville in Chaffee County, searching for a woman who disappeared while on a bike ride. And now the sheriff is setting up a tip line.
Developing tonight, the search for a Chaffee County woman continues. Suzanne Morphew, missing since Mother's Day, but she did not come home from a bike ride. News 5's Colette Bordelon has details from the sheriff's office search after saying they found some of her personal items.
Absolutely absurd, these headlines. Colorado woman goes on bike ride. Colorado woman captured by a lion and carried off up into the mountains. On Mother's Day, no doubt. Never to be seen again.
The first night there was a mountain lion. The officer seen it walk by the car, so we thought maybe she got attacked by a lion. My concerns were this way and that way if it was the cat, because the cats, they drag their prey up the mountain and out of people's. We can't find sign for the cat, but we got rain away. Could have washed away sign.
What you just heard there in that recording was Suzanne's husband, Barry Morphew, telling a YouTube reporter named Tyson Draper that Suzanne could have been yanked off her bicycle by a mountain lion. And although the mountain lion left no trace, the tracking dogs could not even pick up a scent. Barry also had another theory for Tyson. This one would involve a human predator, possibly grabbing Suzanne off of her bike and bundling her into a car and driving away. It just so happens to happen on a day when her whole family is out of town. And to top it off, her family does not even want any media coverage whatsoever. If a stranger had abducted her, we would expect the family to make public pleas to humanize or personalize Suzanne. As we sometimes know, that's the only way to reach an abductor. Make the victim a person, and do not allow them to be depersonalized.
What seems to have happened from the investigators, and they don't get much, and I've got private people working for me, is maybe she was abducted right here.
After all, according to Sheriff Spees, this is an open criminal investigation. So, what can we glean from that? We can glean that this case is not a simple case of someone who just went missing, but there is a criminal element to it. and the silence is hard to ignore. Greetings, folks. This is Charles Goodman, and I hope whoever you are, you're doing well. As you may already know, I am your host of the Area 4 AM News Podcast Network. Today, we're going to talk about a case that has been making headlines across the internet. This short news podcast contains alarming content, and viewer discretion is advised. The Sheriff's Department has been launching its own search and is not asking for any volunteers. Yet Barry Morphew's nephew launched a donation page asking for donations to help in the search. The donation page has raised $33,487 of a goal of $50,000. And the page reads, "Please help raise funds for the search for Suzanne Morphew. She has been missing since Sunday, May 10th. She left her home for a bike ride near County Road 225 and West Highway 50 and did not return." Trevor Knoll, Suzanne's nephew, officially organized this fundraiser. On December 3rd, 2020, I stopped by the Find Suzanne Morphew Facebook page. I was hoping to find some updates about Suzanne for this podcast, but sadly, it seems that the administrators of the page have since abandoned it. While there, I did run across a post that read, "Trevor Knoll, why is it too much to update information on this page? Why did you start it if you were not willing to share any updates or new information? You seem to have absolutely no issues with having a GoFundMe page and accepting donations from strangers and updating the parties that the donated money is going to. So why is there issues with being courteous to people you begged to join this Facebook page? If you can't update everyone, maybe closing this page is more appropriate, and not accepting donations would also be more upstanding. You are in a field of communications and stepped into this as a spokesman for the family, and yet do not want to communicate. Spreading the word will solve this case, but obviously that isn't your main concern." Heartbreakingly, another post read, "May 17th was the last post here. What is going on with the searches?" Sadly, there was no response from Trevor on either of these posts.
So why did Barry put the Puma Path home up for sale in October of this year? Is it because he can't bear to stay there after what happened to Suzanne? In an off-camera interview with CBS News 4 at the Puma Path home, Barry threw viewers a little bone by sharing some love letters written to him by Suzanne. He also told the news channel, who agreed not to film or record him, that he is selling the Puma Path home because he believes that Suzanne was kidnapped there, and his two daughters are now terrified to stay there. Barry said that he and his daughters have been renting a home close by, and that privacy concerns were part of his decision to put the Puma Path home up for sale. He said strangers had been coming around and claimed that he had been video recorded against his will. According to Suzanne's brother, Andy Mormon, he organized a large-scale volunteer search for Suzanne near the end of September. Some searchers were near the Puma Path property and bumped into Barry. Mormon said that Barry was carrying a shotgun and hanging cameras from trees. Mormon told the local news outlet that Barry told the searchers that they were trespassing and to stay away from his property. On September 10th, Barry had the Puma Path house listed on a website called Airbnb as a nightly vacation rental. He was asking $800 a night, but in early December, the listing was suddenly removed. It seems that Barry joined the site as a host back in February of 2020. Now, As I have discovered while doing some searches on the internet, it seems that another YouTube channel has managed to record another interview with Barry secretly. This is a guy by the name of AC who operates a YouTube channel called CrimeTube. Apparently, AC had gone to Salida to help with the Andy Mormon search for Suzanne. And at some point, we don't know where or when, but AC bumped into Barry and recorded a conversation that the two had together. From what was heard in the background of the recording, it sounded like they were outside by a creek. The YouTube channel took what was probably about 3 minutes of conversation with Barry and broke it up into like 8 or 10 different videos. In these videos, Barry didn't seem to have much to say, but there was one short clip where Barry introduced his latest theory as to what could have happened to Suzanne after she was abducted, and that was that Suzanne might have been sold into a sex trafficking ring. Now, these guys hosting the channel also posted a video where they took screenshots from the Tyson Draper video and claimed that Barry had cuts and bruises on his hands. Now, if you want to watch the video for yourself, it's on their YouTube channel with the recordings they made of Barry. I watched the video but couldn't see much about what the video claimed, but maybe your eyes are better than mine. Now, because we all want justice for Suzanne, it can be easy for us to become impatient. After all, it's been 7 months, and we haven't seen any recent efforts to find her or the persons responsible for her disappearance. On the surface, it appears that the investigation has gone silent. I guess we can only hope that next year, when the new District Attorney Linda Stanley takes over the Chaffee County prosecutor's office, she might shed some light on Suzanne's case. But without finding Suzanne's body, it's doubtful that any prosecution in this case will come together anytime soon. Maybe when springtime comes and the snow melts, new searches will bring new light. According to a press release from the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, the task force continues to focus on Suzanne's social media presence as part of their investigation. Investigators say Suzanne kept in touch with friends she loved dearly. Sometimes in these cases, people don't come forward with information for concern that they might get someone in trouble. Those who are fearful of coming forward can reach out anonymously to the sheriff's office. Investigators want to talk to anyone who is engaged with Suzanne on Facebook, Instagram, Voxer, FaceTime, or WhatsApp to come forward if they haven't already done so, regardless of how insignificant they may think the information might be. I think we can deduce that the investigation into Suzanne's disappearance is leading law enforcement closer to home, and it's going to take some time for investigators to wade through all of Suzanne's social media. After all, law enforcement will have to identify which apps and sites Suzanne was using and show probable cause that these sites might contain information regarding her disappearance so that they can get a search warrant. They also have to wait for the warrants to be issued and take the time to serve them. Then there's the daunting task of sifting through hundreds or even thousands of messages and contacts and try to identify people that may or may not use their real names. Investigators might know who and even where, but may not know how. And it could be that one piece of the puzzle that could bring closure to the disappearance of Suzanne Morphew. According to Suzanne's husband, Barry, this is the most devastating thing that has ever happened to him, but he's got to keep his faith and trust in God. Barry said Suzanne trusted the Lord, and if one person got saved from this, she would think it was worth it. We are just a godly, loving, caring family, and this thing is just a tragedy, says Barry Morphew. So, I think this is going to wrap it up for part 2 of the Suzanne Morphew update timeline. If you like what you hear here, please like and subscribe to this channel. We will take all the help we can get, and I agree that some of you will disagree with some of the things said here today, so please leave your comments down below. You can also help me out by pointing out any mistakes you might think that I've made in this podcast. I will also put a link down below in case you want to join me over on Twitter. I'm Charles Goodman, and I want to thank you for joining me today. And until next time, I will see you on the flip side.